But I've seen more people go through the church and can't stay married. I'm like, how is my parents still married to this day? But it's always, I'm telling you, it's always something centered around fatherhood.
Yeah, it's a choice. Sometimes fatherhood or...
So that's why when girls are not raised with their dad, it's easy for guys to get into bed with them and sleep with them because they always looking for that affirmation.
Right.
He said, put your kids on your phone. He said, the first thing you see, you need to see your kids. He said, before you make a bad move, you push your phone, you look at your 2 kids and you ask, is it worth it? All right.
Let's go to work. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of My Manhood Matters with your boy, Charles Sneed. Real men, real times, real journeys. Today, I have a pleasure of introducing a dear friend of mine who's making a great impact in the community, stronger than my father's. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to my friend, my brother from another mother, Mr. Marcus Meneese.
Welcome.
Welcome. No, you welcome, man. I'm glad you're here, man. Out of your busy schedule,
No,
dude.
not busy.
Busy
You get me out the cave to come out and talk, man.
Okay.
I'm ready to go. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm honored to be on your podcast, man.
And you know what? The next time, fellas, I think next time we can have your sons on here. Everybody can bring their sons. That'd be dope.
I bring my boys.
Yeah.
You think I can talk? Bring my youngest. I don't know what he'll say.
Marcus, for those who don't know, I had the opportunity to be on Marcus's podcast, Stronger Than My Father. We had a great time, great information Marcus was sharing. So Marcus, because of what you do and what you represent, and I got to ask the rest of the brothers that have been on this show, when you think about manhood, what word comes to mind and why?
Responsibility.
Okay, my boy Ashford said the same thing. Why responsibility for you?
I think every man, if you produce a child and bring it to the world, it's your responsibility to take care of.
But what if I don't know how?
I think you always, just like if you don't know how to work on a car, just like you don't know how to work on different things, you find somebody to help you.
Okay.
You should not let that be an excuse. I think you find either books or find somebody who's doing the work.
Okay.
And you ask that person, what does it take for me to be a father? What it takes for me to be a man? I had a kid in my program about a year ago. We went out to eat. He says, Marcus, I'm 17 years old and I don't know what it takes to be a man. Can you show me?
Oh, wow.
He was 17.
What was the first thing you told him, Marcus?
I told him responsibility.
Okay.
I said, if you're going to be at the session, you got to be on time. You got to look presentable as a man.
Okay.
I said, don't come with no Crocs on. I said, tell me
sagging.
Yeah. So I think that's the first thing I taught him. And now that young man is heading off to the Navy.
Get out of here.
So yeah, heading off to the Navy. But I think just when you don't have dad in the home, it's hard. But I think just for manhood, you can find somebody. If you really genuine about taking care of your family and your kids, no matter what the situation with the mom is, you're still responsible for taking care of your son or your daughter or your family.
What about if you have these fathers that, I grew up with a stepdad. Well, I don't call him my stepdad, but what about if you did have a father in the home but didn't know how to be a father?
I say the same thing. I think you have to ask. If you want to be something, you're gonna go find how to do it.
That's true.
If you want to be an electrician, if you want to be whatever profession, you're gonna find how to do it. It's the same thing with fatherhood. No difference. If you need help, go find help. Google, what Google's for.
Right.
And Google, how can I be a dad? Find every way you can, find every avenue you can go through if you're serious about being a dad. Because once that child's brought into the world, that child's gonna go 2 ways.
Yeah.
Either good or bad, but the decision's up to you as a father to try to raise your sons.
Who was your hero growing up?
My dad.
Your dad, why your dad?
Number one, because he was there.
Okay.
He taught me everything it takes to be a man and raise children and take care of my wife. So he taught me everything. And my dad was never a dad that was absent. He was always straightforward. I didn't like everything he taught me, but he was there. So I would never put anybody above my father.
Okay.
I have some great mentors who's guided me in life, but the king is dad.
The king is dad.
That's my dad.
So growing up, did your dad show emotion? Because, some of us grew up without that.
Nah.
Okay.
Me and my dad talked about this the other day. Dad grew up in an era where his father never hugged him. He actually told me this on Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow.
Because we talked about it.
Okay.
Because he said, you know what? I thought about, we was talking about that emotion. Because when we was changing the brakes on my car, we talked about that.
Okay.
And Dad said, my father in his generation, my dad was born in the 50s. So you got 50s, 60s, he was dead before 70. He said my dad never hugged me.
Why is that? Because that's how his dad was.
That's how his dad's was.
Okay.
Times were back then, but he knew his dad loved him because he was always there.
Okay.
So now you look at my generation, my dad did the same thing that his dad did. So all we did was we would get a headlock every now and then from dad, but we knew he loved us because he was always there for us.
Gotcha.
Now, only hug that I can even remember is when I graduated Tennessee State and we had a party. And I went to shake my dad's hand because I was used to shaking his hand.
Right.
He said, "Give me a hug because I'm proud of you."
Wow.
But I mean, that didn't move me or anything.
Right,
We just didn't show a lot of emotions in our home, but we had a loving house.
Right.
I didn't see my father ever put his hands on my mother.
Okay.
I never seen my dad cuss my mama out.
Okay.
I've never seen my father come home drunk.
Okay.
I never seen him abuse any of us. My dad did what his father did, and that was provide. Now, he worked us to death.
Right. Because that was one of the strong characteristics of being a
But
man.
he said, "I worked y'all to death so y'all wouldn't get in trouble. I will make sure you too tired to get in trouble." So we get home on Saturday evening from working at 6, 7 o'clock at night, who going out?
Nobody.
You take a shower when you sit down. But your question was, he just didn't show that growing up, and it didn't affect none of us.
Okay.
For us, it didn't affect none of us. Now, I do know in the realm of fatherhood, some men need hugs. Some men need
Affirmation.
Affirmation.
Right.
For us, we didn't need that because my dad was just there.
Just there.
And he treated us with love and respect, and that's all I need.
So, did you incorporate that with your boys? As far as the affection, the affirmation, the affection.
Yeah,
piece?
I don't. Me and my oldest son fist bump every day.
Okay, that's
said-
y'all language.
Yeah.
That's y'all love language.
Yeah. My son. Now I don't know where he got it from. I will tell you this.
Okay.
My oldest is the 15-year-old version of me, that affectionate and all that. And I guess when I had my heart broke, I turned into the evil one. But I would say this. My oldest son is very affectionate.
Okay.
I hope whenever he get his heart broken, he stays the same. Because my oldest son fist bumps me every day.
Every day.
Every morning, every afternoon when I pick him up from school, we fist bump. Okay. How was your day? Did anybody bother you? So do I hug my boys a whole lot? No. But usually it's either headlocks, same thing my dad, headlocks, stuff like that. But what my boys do know is that dad loves us. They love me so much. We have such a bond where when I come in the garage, they wait and say hi to me.
That's amazing.
Dad here. They're excited when I pull in the garage.
Wow.
Instead of going running and hiding.
Right.
They are excited. So that's how our relationship has worked between me and my boys. And it's great. Great two young men that's growing up. But I was teaching this morning is that your kids always watch you.
That's true.
My boy, because they're trying to learn what it takes to be a man. And same thing we did with dad. Not knowing that's what we were doing, but I was watching dad. So when I make moves now, first thing I think about, how did daddy do it? How did daddy do it? So when some people say, man, I can't even change the brakes on my car. Oh man, my dad did that multiple times.
So you had something more than any of us. I mean, most black men would have. I mean, that's really, really a blessing. That's almost unheard of. But I really do see and feel the trajectory changing. That brothers are, well, not just black men, but men period, are really taking initiative, spending time with their sons. Because the time we live in, that whole mental illness is a beast, and we'll talk about that a little later. But if you take away all what you do, who is really Marcus?
Very private individual.
Okay.
And going back to my dad.
Okay.
My dad's very private.
Okay.
My dad lives in the country. He got his goats.
Not the goats.
Dad has goats on the farm. He lives on the farm, and that's what he enjoys.
Because your mom passed away.
No, my mom's still living.
Oh, she is?
Right, they've been married 53 years.
Okay.
Nah, but that's what my dad wanted.
Yeah.
My mom moved. I'm gonna tell you why marriages are so important when you work as a team.
Okay.
My mother grew up in the cities, grew up in Memphis, moved to Nashville, go to college, she meets dad. 03, dad wanted to move back to the country because he hates the city. My mom didn't really want to go, but she said, because your dad has sacrificed and worked hard for you all and myself, I do whatever it takes to make your dad happy.
Wow.
That's why my dad told me, he said, when I leave this earth, you get your mom out of here. Because she don't want to be here. But my mom is there and support my daddy because dad has worked hard to provide for all of us. and she says, I'm not going to deny your father happiness if that's where he want to go. Even though I don't want to go, I'm not going to deny your father his happiness.
Oh, wow.
And that's why they've been married 53 years.
Wow.
So it's always sacrifice.
And so everything that you saw your father do with the help of the Lord, you incorporated in your marriage.
Yeah, I incorporate all that. The only thing I got to do better is affection. I'm not a big affection guy.
Marcus, you had two kids.
Yeah, if it's time for intimacy, I think about it. Outside of that, Marcus ready to work, man.
Is it because your mind is somewhere else?
I think my mind is on the work.
Yeah.
The work that I do.
Okay.
I wake up ready to go.
Yeah.
All the time. And my dad was one, he woke up ready to go to work. Let's go to work. Let's go to work. Right. So that's an area of my life I've been talking to God to help me on.
Okay.
So because here's the thing I do know. I asked my mom, was dad, since we're going to affection, is dad an affectionate person? Mama said, no, your dad ain't affectionate. But she said, I didn't need that from your dad. I didn't need that. But me and my wife were talking the other night, and I said, why do you need so much affection and stuff like that? And she was like, I didn't get that from my father. So that's why when girls are not raised with their dad, it's easy for guys to get into bed with them and sleep with them because they always looking for that affirmation.
Right.
There you go. Men know that.
Right.
Because men are hunters.
Right.
It's always, we pray. It's always in you. You could be married and everything.
Right.
But you always gonna see. My dad always says, you can look at the menu, but don't order from it. And what he told me growing up.
Y'all hear that, Facebook? That is too funny.
So, but these are just tips and tools of what my father trained us.
So at this point in your life, what is Marcus now looking like?
I'm 48. I think by the time this come out, I'll be 2025, so I'll be 49.
Okay.
I'm really looking at more of teaching.
Okay.
Going to a few conferences next year.
Okay. That you'll be presenting.
That I'll be presenting.
Right.
And trying to look for the next great mentor who could take Strong and my father way beyond Marcus.
Okay.
I want to look for the next guy.
Okay.
I've been mentoring for over 21 years. I'm tired.
You feel it's a shift?
Yeah. It's first time. This year I actually started feeling it. Okay. That it's time.
I don't think this is a sidebar, but I don't think most of the guys on this show today, most of them own like nonprofit. People don't understand what it takes.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Not starting it is not hard, but maintaining it and taking it to the next level, that's when the struggle comes.
Yeah, cause I'm 11 years in.
11 years.
11 years in.
Yeah.
And but my mom always said, once a task has begun, never leave it till it's done. Be the great or small, do it well or not at all.
Not at all.
And that's trained me through the ups and the downs of nonprofit. Yeah. Cause you're gonna go ups and downs, peaks and valleys.
When I think about people like you, and I think about people like Demetrius Short, that's been in it, I think God has really honored y'all. He's honored y'all because y'all did it with such integrity, and such character, and such a heart, and for the passion for the young men. It's just, or for the young kids, it's just phenomenal, and we don't see that too much anymore. Yeah. One thing I know for sure is this. I told Ashford is, My Manhood Matters is going to be a platform to fund those type of programs. I don't want to do a mentorship program. No, I'm not called to it because there's too many out there. Yeah. But we will, because I want to start selling merch. But with the part of my proceeds would be a blessing to your ministry, to be a blessing to Demetrius. But yeah, I admire the work that you do. Since you mentor young men, how have you seen manhood change over the years? Culturally,
oh, that's a great question. Now I'm going to go back to you. That's a great question. I think it affected me because I didn't know a lot of these situations going on.
In the house.
Because we grew up in a very, I would say now, shelter household. We were sheltered growing up. And I had to accept that. Yeah. Because it was tough for me to accept that we were sheltered. Yeah. So we didn't see a lot of the things that going on today. That was going on today that I see now. Right. That sometimes I ask questions that made it seem like I'm being judgmental. So like when we were delivering gifts in the projects and I see like 7 kids walk down, happy to see gifts. And I'm like, what man would want his family to be in that situation? But that makes me judgmental. So, because I'm thinking about my manhood. A real man would want his family in dangerous situations.
So you know what the situation is? I think I talked about it with Aaron McGee earlier, is that there's just that little boy inside of us that hasn't been healed yet to be the man. Because I'm still angry at my dad because he left my mama.
But you produce a child,
That don't matter. That's a boy.
you produce a child, and he's gonna go through the same thing you went through. So now you're gonna just repeat the cycle. So that's the whole thing where I was telling people fatherhood issues will never stop. Because people are gonna continue to make children.
Right.
I think that the goal for me now, the question you asked earlier, is try to save one.
Okay.
If you can get saved and I can help you in going into manhood, I have boys who ask me questions. One of the young men who I mentored 10 years ago is a father now. He'll ask different questions.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Like my father always told us blunt truth.
Right.
You ain't wanna like it. It's like castor oil. You don't like it,
Right.
but it's gonna make you feel better.
Right.
And because your child is always watching and your child's gonna become something, either good or bad. Because now you're fighting. Before then, when I first started, I didn't have social media like it is now.
Right.
Now I'm mentoring boys who want to look at Instagram, and I got kids. A kid said, "Mark, I'm following you on Instagram." And I looked at him like, "You in 8th grade? Why are you following me?" I said that to him.
Yeah, it's ego.
But you don't know. Here's the thing. I think when I thought about that, maybe he's trying to see if I'm really living the life I'm talking about.
They watch me.
If you like what you hear, I encourage you to subscribe to My Manhood Matters on all social media platforms so you can be encouraged to dedicate your life to becoming a good father and a good man. Because what you see on my page is what you see
That's true.
about my life that I decide to share with the world.
Right.
But that's the reason why, like I said, what I've seen in the years is just the stories. I didn't know people lived a certain way. I didn't know people go through certain different things. I just didn't know it.
Didn't know it.
Because I only grew up one way. Work with daddy, go to church with mama.
Right.
And the only way you went to church with mom to get away from daddy, because daddy will work you on Sunday because daddy didn't go to church.
Right. That's right.
So daddy will work you on Sunday, but he gave you a chance.
How old were you when you found God?
And I found God. Oh God.
I mean, like really developed that relationship.
I don't know.
Were you 5 years old after you got baptized?
No, I got baptized when I was in ninth grade. But
When did it become real to you though?
watching my mama. Still real now because with my mom, I would say the thing that opened my eyes up really to my mother teaching is when she fought cancer. My mom fought cancer in 2016. So while she had it, my sister developed the same cancer she had 6 months later.
Wow.
So my mom is fighting for her life and encouraging my sister. But her faith in God elevated my faith in God to understand that life happens.
Yeah.
So your relationship with God has to be so strong where it can fight. So when you ask me my age, I don't really know. I just know I went to Sunday school, I read a lot, and I understood how God operates.
Right.
God tells you what to do in the Bible. If you don't do it, you're going to deal with some consequences.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Right.
So you have a choice. And in the Bible, you've seen numerous stories of God gave somebody a chance and then they didn't do right and he got them. Moses, Ananias and Sapphira, he got them all.
Yeah.
Because why? God asked you to do something.
Disobedience.
And a preacher says every decision you make comes with the consequences. So I tell people all the time, you can run and shout in church, you can do all those things, but on Monday, you're going to be faced with a decision.
Right. You still got to live with
And you're going to have to deal with your decision. You got to deal with the consequence. Which one you want?
Right. Right.
So when people ask me, how can you stay married 22 years and cheat? I say, look.
And not cheat.
Cheating going to come with a consequence.
It's going.
All right.
And it's too expensive.
And it ain't the money. You don't know what move God going to make. I'm tempted all the time. I'm around single moms all the time, tempted. But I say, I don't know what move God going to make.
Right.
So if I indulge, is he going to kill me? He going to take I mean, that's how I think.
Right.
Because it happened, if we go in word, that's what happened in the Bible.
Right. Right.
Ananias and Sapphira lied against the Holy Spirit. What happened?
Phil did.
You don't think God can still do that today?
Oh, yeah. Yes, he can.
So when I'm tempted, and that temptation is in my head, and it's going through, oh, Mark, you can find all these schemes to do stuff. I said, you know what? If I go through this route, what's going to happen? And my kid's going to be embarrassed.
Right.
To say their daddy was this guy who wanted to help all the kids know daddy, but behind the scenes, he was doing this.
I had asked a question to a couple of guys. I'm going to ask you this. What advice would you give to millennial brothers?
What was advice about what? You've been what the advice is about.
Manhood. Whether it's financial, whether it's relationship, whether it's how to build with your hands, whether it's about character building.
I think my dad gave me his best advice. All you have is your name. Keep a clean name. He said, son, a clean name can take you anywhere in this world. When people can say your name and say that's a good individual, that's what I want.
But what
You
do
know,
you,
I would teach a young man that.
okay,
Don't destroy your name.
don't destroy your name.
Because the first thing you hear, and God rest his soul, no shade, if you hear a Steve McNair, what do you first thing you think?
Yeah.
What happened to him? You don't think about the Super Bowl.
Right.
First
A
thing you
great player
think,
he was, a great
great player.
NFL player he was.
First thing you think about was he was murdered. And so if you see the ESPN 30 for 30, it affected his son.
It did.
And his son says, I don't want my name attached to him, so I'm gonna go ballet.
Yeah. You're right.
That's how strong fatherhood is that nobody don't want to talk about. And so every day of my life, I have to live for, and my old supervisor, God rest his soul, gave me some strong advice. He said, put your kids on your phone. He said, the first thing you see, you need to see your kids. He said, before you make a bad move, you push your phone, you look at your 2 kids and you ask, is it worth it? You
Not your wife, but your children.
My children.
Okay.
Because anything I do, it's going to affect the wife.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I want my children to succeed me and be stronger than me. But I ask my thing, do I want to disappoint them?
Is that how Stronger Than My Father came about?
No. Stronger Than My Father came about, my son had a shirt that said strong like dad. I had no desire to do anything in the fatherhood space. Never had no desire. I just wanted to live a private life. I was trying to get a career in training development.
Right.
I wanted to live a private life.
Okay.
And one day I was putting a shirt on. He had a sweater. It said strong like that. And he was 3 years old. I still remember I was in his bedroom and I was putting the shirt on and God said stronger than my father.
Wow.
So I paused. So I don't know how to hear God's voice. I don't know how to hear God's voice. It's just a rare occasion when it happens. So immediately I grabbed a tab and I just wrote it down because I would forget it. Then I kept saying it over and over again. And then I said, okay, what is this about? And then I kept watching the Will Smith episode when his father abandoned him.
Yeah, he asked him a question.
And he kept saying, I'm gonna be better, I'm gonna be better. Then I started researching father and I realized father is a cycle. You're only gonna do what you're taught unless somebody else can tell you to go a different direction.
Wow.
So that's when I hit the
Marcus.
cliche, the cycle ends with me. Somebody has to end the cycle
Yeah.
and says, you know what, my dad wasn't here for me. What did Will Mills say? I'm gonna be better than you. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. So he's trying to break a cycle that he was involved in. So every man who's grown out of father has an opportunity to break the cycle. So if you sleep with a woman, married or not, and a child is produced, your job is to find a way to take care of your family.
In this season, man, your teenage life, what are you teaching them now about manhood?
Ooh, I'm not teaching anything, I'm just letting them watch me.
Okay, that's good.
Because I never asked my dad that question. I just watched everything he did. So when we goes to manhood, I think action speaks louder than words. Your actions, what you do. I don't have a story saying my dad cheated on mama. I don't have that story. If he did it, I don't know it. But I don't think my mom would be with my dad if he did it.
Right.
Now I will say this about my parents, that since we on spirituality, is my father doesn't go to church. My mom goes all the time. My mom's saved, sanctified. My father's not. My dad believes in God, believes in the Bible. He just don't like preachers. That's just who he is. But let me tell you this, that what you're gonna be, I'm gonna get your opinion is that they've been married 53 years. But I've seen more people go through the church and can't stay married. I'm like, how is my parents still married to this day? Now, my mom grew up without a father.
Right.
My dad had a father. But you can't get two people in the same church to run down the aisle, they can't stay married. And my question too is why?
Well, a couple of things. So
If we both believe in God,
right,
we both say you can't stay married.
it's a choice.
Yeah. But it's always, I'm telling you, it's always something centered around fatherhood.
Yeah, it's a choice. Sometimes fatherhood or depending on how long you've been married to, they're just tired of each other. I know the Bible talks about one can save the household, but there's an agreement that you and your parents had. That what I mean by that is your mother knew how to be a wife. Now your dad believed in God, right? He believed in the whole Trinity and everything. He just didn't go to church. So the beliefs are still the same. He just didn't come to church on Sundays with your mama.
Let me tell you what my dad did. I asked my dad that same question. He said, I respect your mother and her religion. He said, I didn't agree with everything your mom did, but I respected her religion. Growing
You
up,
love your mama.
yeah, growing up, I ain't noticed I got older. We used to go to grandma's house for Thanksgiving.
All the time.
Have a good time. Eat, enjoy ourselves. But when it was time for the cards and the liquor, my mom put all of us in her car and said, we're going home. My dad stayed. My mom said, we're going home. My dad never told my mama to leave my boys here with me. He respected my mother. That's why they're still married today. It's respect. He respected mom and her religion. He never made fun of my mother, who wear dresses all the time. I remember we have a lawn service business. We was cutting grass on this one street. And we was killing it. We had one more yard to cut.
Oh, yeah.
And Daddy said, we ain't cutting this yard today. I said, Daddy, we all here. We can knock it out in 20 minutes. He said, she's a 7-day Adventist. She don't want her yard cut on Saturday. And I'm going off. And my dad says, you respect everybody's religion, no matter what. That's all he said. He said in a tone where I knew if I said something else, something was going to happen.
You're finna get popped.
But it taught me how to respect people and their religion, because there's so many different religions out here. But my father respected my mother.
And because of what your parents, how you saw your dad treat your mom, did you do the same, value those things with your wife?
Yeah, we both Pentecostal. I don't agree with everything in Pentecostal. I can say it on camera. I don't care. But we both have their respect. We both go to the same church.
Yeah.
We both see each other. So we both have their respect.
Yeah.
So I respect my wife in a lot of different areas where I wish she would change in certain things. But if she don't, I'm gonna still respect you in that lane, because that's what you believe.
How long you been married now?
23 years.
23 years.
24 next year.
What's next for y'all?
I don't know. So I can't answer that question because I don't know. All I do though is that we live every day. I think the best part about it is that she respects what I do.
Okay.
She respects the work.
Okay.
Because the work I'm doing for her, we're still in Nashville. Because my goal was to move when I was trying to find a career. When I graduated Tennessee State in Trevecca, I'm trying to find a career.
Okay.
I ain't thinking about doing the ministry and God's work. I ain't thinking nothing about that.
Right.
But she's right there helping me. She's behind the scenes, so everybody see Marcus. But you realize if you don't have a great person that believes in the vision with you, it's not going to work. Because all you're going to do is argue about it.
Right.
So I could go out and be mentoring to 7, 8 o'clock. She ain't going to bother me about it. She ain't going to say, where you at? I don't see where you at. I'm looking on location and shit. She don't do none of that. She ain't do none of it. She says, you have my trust till you break it.
Yeah.
That's all she said.
So let me ask you, what's next for Marcus Meneese?
What's next, Marcus, is that I do want to create, we have a facility in Antioch where we started after school in 2016.
Okay.
We had after school for 7 years, pre-K through 5th, and I enjoyed it. But I knew it was time to go to the next level. Right. The same facility at Smith Street Church of Christ, I want to transform it to youth and entrepreneurship. Okay. I think that if you can get a middle school child and help them find their purpose in life, they got a greater chance of not going into the streets. And then you find somebody to help deal with the trauma. Trauma, entrepreneurship can help a child go to wherever career they want to go, because they're discovering that I am worth something. And so I want to transform the building that you was in when we did the podcast to all youth and family, because there are still family, fathers, moms, who still want to have a passion to do stuff in life. Right. They never got a chance to it. So it could be a father that says, you know what, I always wanted to do culinary arts. I always wanted to cook. Now I could come in this space and learn how to cook and create my own business. That starts changing cultures. Right. You start changing people's mindsets, so they don't have to think about a lot of the bad things going on in life, that I am worth something. Because everybody's not built for college. No. But there are plenty of entrepreneurs. My dad's an entrepreneur. My dad started a lawn service business when I was 13 years old. He's still cutting today. He did it for us to keep me and my brothers out of trouble. Right. But then when he lost his job in 2008 at Peterbilt, what did he do?
Not Peterbilt, man. My stepdad worked at Peterbilt.
Yeah, my dad worked at Peterbilt from,
my grandfather.
from God, I think 71, 72 to 2008. But my daddy never punched a clock for nobody else since 2008.
That's amazing.
Entrepreneurship. So that's the thing that's next for Marcus. More speaking engagements. Okay. Increasing the podcast. Okay. But I want to help. I want to do something to help dads. Still trying to figure it out. Okay. But even just a Zoom where dads can just come on and talk about some of the issues, and find some men who could jump on Zoom with me. Right. And let's help this dad. If this dad really wants to be there for his child, let somebody get on here and give him the tools of what it takes to be a dad. So then you can be successful and take care of your kids, and your kids don't have to repeat the same cycle. Every father has a chance, if you grow without a father, to break the fatherhood cycle.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to continue to do with my life is just be sure I can help a young man have a shot at a better life. So when I seen this young man in the projects, when we were dropping off Christmas gifts, I said to myself, what can we do to help this young man not have to live in the projects,
Right.
where he can have a nice house? When I was over at the Governor's Club and I'm seeing all these beautiful houses, why can't other kids have that? Every person has a shot. Now I will say, so if you talk spirituality, you have to keep God first.
Yeah, you have to.
So for one thing I do, I ask God, what moves you want me to make?
Wisdom.
What do you want to make? In the nonprofit space, what moves you want me to make?
Right.
That's how I live. 'Cause I know I see everybody hustling and I'm gonna connect this person, that person. And I do a little bit of that. But before I connect, I say, God, I've gotten out of the car and I said, God, bless me to meet somebody that can help me grow the ministry. First thing I say, I honor him first before I get out the car and I go network.
Wow.
I honor God first.
So Marcus, where can we find you?
All on my social media platforms, stronginmyfather.org. Scroll to the bottom, you see all our social media. Anything you type Strong in My Father, you're gonna see us there. So we're on all social media platforms. At stronginmyfather.org is our website. I have a beautiful website where it shares a lot of knowledge on the crisis that's in America, which I call the greatest pandemic no one talks about, which is the fatherless.
Okay. Marcus, man, thanks for coming on my show, man.
Thank you for inviting me.
No.
I was waiting to see if you were gonna call me or not. I'm just playing with you. I thank you. I applaud you what you're doing. I pray God blesses your ministry through this to help men and shed a light on fatherhood.
Yes, sir.
Because you can do it with My Manhood Matters. My Manhood Matters, and it does matter for a lot of men. So I applaud you. I will keep watching what you're doing.
I'm gonna keep watching what you're doing.
Because I'm watching you now. I listened probably 3 or 4 before I got over here.
No, you didn't.
I gotta see what I'm getting into. But I applaud you for that.
Yes, sir.
Anybody that takes time to try to bring light on one of the serious topics in America, which is the fatherless. So God bless you and thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right. If you like what you hear, I encourage you to subscribe to My Manhood Matters on all social media platforms so you can be encouraged to dedicate your life to becoming a good father and a good man.